Well, meantime, back to the state legislature. It looks like lawmakers won't be out for the summer, at least not for the entire summer. State senators agree there is just too much to do, and they need the extra sessions to work on pressing issues like road funding. It is not clear yet whether the House will follow suit. However, House Republicans have already come up with a new proposal to fix the state's roads. You know, Nolan, the Senate must have heard you last week when you were railing about the fact if they can't get this done this summer, then they should be a part-time legislature. We should take away their jobs.
Well, and you know, I think you have to commend the Senate for stepping up and saying we're going to stay until we get the job done. That was the good thing that happened in the legislature this week. Their first crack at a plan is an absolute disaster. It's fantasy land.
Well, all right, can I list some of the things from the House?
The Senate, you notice you don't have a plan yet from either the Senate or the governor. No. And the governor should have started this conversation with a plan.
Should have put legislation out.
Yes.
You should have had legislation ready to go after the vote. Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of the details of the House plan, and this is just some of the details. So they think they're going to get about $1 billion a year, but it's from a bunch of different places. So here we go, $350 million in new general fund money, projected economic revenue. So kind of just wishing and hoping.
You know,
I think actually that was almost $700 million, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was closer to $7. When Detroit City Council used to do this all the time, and in the mayor's office with their budget, people lost their minds and called it irresponsible governing. Now you've got the Speaker of the House saying, let's have the whole state budget according to money that we don't already have.
Shockingly irresponsible. I don't know how you go out on road projects that sometimes takes 2 and 3 years. I don't know how you contract out road projects on anticipated revenue.
What they'll
you don't
do,
have the cash in hand?
The thing that they'll do, which is what they always do, you say you're going to do it, and when you come up short, you raid the school aid fund in order to pay for it.
All right, let's see what else they're talking about. They also want to eliminate the earned income tax credit to the tune of $117 million.
You know, poor people, they don't need that.
This is going to be very controversial.
The working poor, and that's the key. That's for people who get up every day, go to work, and still don't make enough to make ends meet. We've already hit them hard with reducing the credit. Now you've got the Speaker of the House saying they don't get it at all. It's unbelievable.
They also want to take $75 million from tobacco settlement from the 21st Century Jobs Fund, $60 million from tribal gaming compact revenue.
They're already spending that money in dozens of other places. I mean,
every time they say, let's use the tobacco money.
You know, this tobacco money was the worst thing that ever happened to this state because, you know, all of a sudden it became like monopoly money, play money. We're going to spend it everywhere. How many times over the years have people tried to solve this state's problems on that tobacco settlement? They've leveraged it 2 or 3 times in terms of bonding off of it. I'm not even sure that money exists.
What you see when you look at this, and this is, I don't want to attack.
My cheat sheet's my notes.
I don't want to attack Kevin Cotter personally, but the immaturity that's reflected in this plan is stunning. I mean, this is somebody who doesn't understand legislating, who doesn't understand budgeting, and that's not his fault. He's the Speaker of the House only by virtue of the fact that he's the most senior person there.
Is an indictment of
term limits. I was just going to say, we're talking about term limits here,
This is Mickey Mouse legislating that you would not see in other states, and we have got to get to a place where we are electing people and letting them have the time to learn how things work, so you don't get this kind of.
And get some courage too, not always looking at, oh gosh, if I do this in 4 years, I can't run for the Senate. I mean, you've got very little now independence among these lawmakers because they sell themselves out for their next job. They're all leapfrogging along. Term limits did not create a citizens' legislature. It created a pogo stick legislature where everybody's bouncing from job to job.
That visual is awesome. I just want to also throw in that they were talking about taking the $50 million from film incentives and shoving it there too. So
okay, fine. You know, they're going to take that. That's fine. And there's not all of these ideas are bad ideas. There are,
but it's not.
They are not going to be
vision.
able to. The truth is, reality is, because they made the idiotic decision to go to voters with Prop 1, and that was trounced 4-1 by a 4-1 margin. You cannot expect the lawmakers to go back and do this 100% with new taxes. That's unrealistic. So you've got to find some places that are less essential than road work and take that money and add to the pile. But if we're going to fix these roads, the biggest pool is going to have to be an increase in the fuel taxes.
And some tax, sure.
All right, so but you call this a pogo stick legislature, and you say that this is just the product of basically immature politicians. But would you give the House and the Speaker credit for at least coming up with something a week after Prop 1, saying, "Hey, this was a starting point"?
This plan was out there. This is Colbeck's plan that got thrown out in the last legislature.
Well, and it's also just sort of grab bag funding. There's no vision. There's no cohesive vision here for governing.
Well, there's no reality.
Right. I mean, the idea that you can sort of just take from these things without consequence, which is sort of what he's saying, is absurd. All of those things have serious consequences.
Spineless.
And when the money doesn't materialize from some of them, they will have even more dire consequences when you go to the school aid fund, which is their funny pot of money up there, and take it out. You gotta sort of have legislators who are thinking more long term.
That's not to say you can't look at other areas of the state budget and gain efficiencies.
Absolutely, you can.
Even
but
the school aid fund, nothing
that.
should be untouchable. But that's not what they're doing. If they said, "Hey, look, we're going to take a hard look at all of our spending, and we're going to find $500 million that are not being spent well," but that's not what they're doing here. This is fake money they're trying to print.
Well, and I was very surprised at the earned income tax credit. The fact
Yeah, I mean, it's the moral irresponsibility that's attached to that is, again, just stunning.
Of course, you're not going to need that when the Democrats push through $15 an hour minimum wage, right?
You need it both. You need both.
That's a conversation for another day.